Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am not here with Geeky Sparkles because I don't think she really cared much for this topic, but we're going to talk about Polygon and some headlines that are beyond parody. Polygon is beyond parody. It has been for quite some time now. I think it could be argued that Polygon has been beyond parody since the beginning, but these are actual headlines from Polygon, courtesy of Sophia Narwitz. I want to talk about this because Polygon's getting a little bit of pushback, even from developers. Respawn Entertainment got criticized for criticizing Polygon. You're not allowed to criticize Polygon. It's a hate crime to criticize Polygon, which is beyond parody. So we're going to talk about that and kind of the utter state of pop culture and gaming journalism. Before we do, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. I think YouTube's up to some shenanigans. It seems like our sub count goes up and then it goes down, and then it goes up and then it goes down. So make sure you're still subscribed. I think they're auditing some YouTube channels that cover news as part of whatever, underhanded update they're coming out with that hides the dislike ratio. So YouTube is not being very creator friendly right now, for sure. So there are some channels being affected by that. I think a lot of channels are being affected by that, and they're trying to promote mainstream news outlets over indie channels like ours. So just make sure you're subscribed, right? Okay, so let's get into this. I saw this the other day. These are actual Polygon headlines, and they are beyond parody. Again, courtesy of Sophia Narwitz, who posted these. We've got speedrunning Undertale, help me understand my gender better. Undertale, okay. All right, we've got Diablo 2 Resurrected, help me love my brain. I'm not lost, I just don't know where I'm going. We've got Breath of the Wild Zelda broke the mold and helped me to do the same. Princess Zelda's self-determination helped me come to terms with my bisexual identity. What does this have to do with anything? And it's not like Sophia is mocking LGBTQ people, herself being LGBTQ, right? So it's like, why are you not actually talking about games? Why are you not actually talking about games? So here we go. Phoenix Press says they're just throwing darts at the board now. Lofty Pixel says, how Minecraft led me to cook and eat my own cat and I don't feel bad about it. Polygon. How did they even come to these conclusions? Bro, who the fuck are these people and why did they write this shit? This is Polygon. This is Polygon, which is somehow surviving the journo purge. We're going to talk about the state of digital journalism right now, and I don't think what's going on is really what the media says is going on. They're saying that a lot of these media outlets are drying up. Polygon is owned by Vox. They're saying a lot of these media outlets are drying up because the ad revenue is drying up, which is partially true. But as we've been talking about, we've had multiple videos about this subject because this explains so much. So many of these news outlets, including Vox, Vice, BuzzFeed, they've been propped up by venture capital. They had investors come in, give them millions and millions of dollars, which a lot of these newsrooms squandered on expensive offices, ridiculous salaries, and they were making money, but they weren't making enough money to pay back what they owed investors. And as a result, there's been a lot of consolidation. A lot of these places have been sold. A lot of people have gotten laid off. And I think the axe is going to come for Polygon eventually. Polygon has become kind of the mouthpiece of the gaming industry at this point. Polygon and IGN. Now, IGN, I think, personally has more street cred, has been around a lot longer, but it definitely puts out its fair share of dumb headlines and dumb articles. And I think, I'm going to be honest, as someone trying to get multiple small pop culture websites off the ground, like Pirates and Princesses, which is a Disney-specific site, and Derezed, which we're starting to fire up again, which is general pop culture with a focus on anime and gaming. it is difficult to find qualified writers willing to work for what you're willing to pay. A lot of times they bring people in, they overpay them. They're not actually making the money back in ad revenue. Again, they're living on venture capital. They're paying people ridiculous wages to write garbage like this. It's crazy that these news outlets, write stuff like this. So if it's not a ridiculous headline, which again, it's going to get clicks. I'm sure it will because it's just so stupid. If it's not a ridiculous headline, a lot of times it's a hit piece on certain people working in the industry that they don't like. We saw this happen with Hogwarts Legacy, that the developer or the director, one of the directors was basically run out from working on the title because at one point in time he had what they consider to be an anti-SJW YouTube channel. We're talking 3-4 years ago. It got unearthed by some journos. They ran with it, and the guy stepped down from his position. So it's, games journos are, this shouldn't surprise anyone. It really shouldn't surprise anyone. These are the kinds of headlines that we get. Again, I can't say if they're being 100% serious or they're just looking at what the traffic is on particular articles. They might be looking at that and being like, yeah, these ridiculous headlines, we don't really believe it, but that's how we make money. We have to make money because they're laying people off massively. But Polygon is actually getting called out now by developers. And the thing is that a lot of Twitter is siding with Polygon. Like, how dare you call out Polygon for reporting something incorrectly? This is coming from Bounding in the Comics. I actually saw it yesterday. Respawn called out Polygon and said, you need to check your sources. Here's a great place to start. Titanfall. It's like, that'll show them. Gotta make sure those incel chuds buy your games too. Even if the person who wrote the article didn't play TF2, let's not drag them for their ignorance publicly. Where's Chun-Li? Where's Chun-Li? Not everyone who has to report on the news has played the game they're reporting on. Let's not be antagonistic. A polite correction would suffice. Polygon has no problem dragging people publicly. These news outlets like Polygon, they have no problem. They can't take it. They can dish it out, but they can't take it. We see this with the comic book industry too. We've seen it in the animation industry that they can't take what they dish out. So for them to be, and I thought it was pretty polite, like, hey guys, this isn't actually accurate. But they're like, you should have had a back channel conversation. If they had found somebody working at Respawn that made videos that they didn't like, or maybe tweeted a couple things they didn't like, they would totally drag Respawn through the mud on Twitter. They would. So I'm sorry. I think, I think it's totally fair for them to be like, hey guys, we're going to correct this. So from Bounding in the Comics, Spencer Baculi, I'll put this link in the comments section. You can check it out. Check the original article out for yourself. Respawn Entertainment faces criticism for correcting Polygon article discussing Titanfall 2 lore and Apex Legends. A tweet from Respawn Entertainment correcting Polygon on their Titanfall 2 lore in an article discussing the newest Apex Legends hero Valkyrie has sparked backlash from critics on social media who found the developer's tone to be inappropriate. It's inappropriate to defy these game journos. They can't take it. They can't take it. They can dish it out, but they can't take it. On April 19th, Respawn Entertainment introduced Apex Legends' newest character, Valkyrie, with the release of the latest entry in their stores from the Outland series of animated shorts, North Star, a Titan pilot seeking to enter Apex games. Valkyrie holds the most direct connection to the events of Respawn Entertainment's preceding Titanfall series, whose events take place in the same settings as Apex Legends. So it turns out Valkyrie is revealed to be the daughter of Titanfall 2 antagonist Viper, who spent her life attempting to come to terms with her father's death at the hands of the game's protagonist, Jack Cooper, following a climactic boss battle aboard the IMS Draconis transport ship, which apparently is a major... I haven't beaten Titanfall 2, but it was a major plot point, and they're like, you could have Googled it. You could have Googled it, professional games journalist. You could have Googled it. Despite being one of the major moments of Titanfall 2, even resulting in players being awarded the defanged achievement, the events of Viper's death eluded Polygon, whose coverage of Valkyrie's announcement claimed that the cause of her father's death was unknown. Maybe he sneezed and fell down the stairs. Maybe it was cancer. I don't know. As we find out, her father was once the pilot of a North Star class Titan, but died possibly in the Apex games himself. Wait, what? Possibly in the Apex games himself. Okay. Wrote Polygon's Austin Goslin. Whatever the cause of death, Valkyrie blames Titanfall 2 antagonist Gubin Blisk, who knew Valkyrie and her father when she was a child known as Viper. How did he die? We don't know. Eventually catching wind of Goslin's egregious lack of journalistic due diligence, Respawn Entertainment responded to Polygon's tweet, linking to the article with a blunt request that the news outlet check their sources. We suggest you check your sources, wrote Respawn Entertainment, who then provided a link to the Steam page for Titanfall 2 and asserted that here's a great place to start. Play the fucking game. Now, again, I understand as a journalist, you don't always have time to play all the games or watch all the movies or whatever that you report on. True. But if you're going to say we don't know how this character died and all you have to do is Google it, like how did this character die? That would be a good place to start. Nobody's saying you have to play through and beat every game you cover. But when you are literally a professional video game journalist, this is not helping your case any. People are already looking at Polygon and laughing. News outlets like Polygon, they're like, you're not actual gamers. You don't know what the hell you're talking about, a lot of you. And you're, spouting off about games and activism, mostly activism. Mostly, a lot of these games journos, not all of them. There are some good ones out there. They are fewer and further between. And it's amazing because a lot of the guys who worked for like EGM back in the day, they don't even go anywhere near games journalism, now, because I think they'd be eaten alive. But there are some legit okay games journos out there. But, they're getting lost in the sea of activists. Activists who don't actually play the games they're reporting on. Again, they're just using the platform. And it's the same with comics. It's the same with animation. It's the same with Hollywood. It's the same with publishing. There are a bunch of activists out there who are using the platform. They really don't give a shit about your childhood heroes. They don't give a shit about the games you play. They don't give a shit about lore. They're not actually part of the fan community, but they're going to come in and dictate what you can and can't like. And they're going to point out all the problems. And basically, they're going to use the platform to build a portfolio to move up the ladder to the next thing. So they'll start out as a games journalist, they'll build some street cred, and then they'll move on to being a pop culture journalist or whatever, and then they'll move on to writing screenplays for Hollywood, and this is how it happens. You trace back a lot of the weirdness is going on in entertainment right now, and you'll find that there is a definite correlation between activist journalists, social media managers, and the people who are breaking into Hollywood, breaking into animation, breaking into comics, breaking into game development. A lot of them started in or around the journalism pool. Some would say the cesspool, but it's a very common thing. People think they can basically chum up to people in the industry and then get jobs based on their personal connections, which is happening. I mean, it is happening, and it's always kind of been that way. But at least back in the day, it seemed like, people could tell within a couple of minutes if you knew what the fuck you're talking about. And now they'll let anyone in based on, because they don't want to be exclusionary. You don't want to be a bad guy. You can't, gatekeep people out of the industry because it's obvious that they don't really give a shit about your industry. They're just parasites who want to latch on to an existing fan base. But I digress. That's a whole nother conversation. But to actually have a developer call out Polygon and be like, yeah, did you ever play the fucking game? No, you did not. I think it's kind of hilarious because more developers need to do this. Despite being completely in the right to correct Polygon's article, Respawn soon found themselves facing backlash on social media as a number of users, particularly journos, responded to the developer by criticizing the tone of their tweet, making excuses for Goslin's poor reporting and, as always, invoking Gamergate. Oh my God, here we go again, Gamergate. They want Gamergate to happen because they need the clicks. They need the clicks because media jobs are plummeting. Yet Vox, Vice, and BuzzFeed, again, Vox owns Polygon. They own Polygon, they own The Verge, they own SB Nation, Eater, Curbed, and they're not doing very well. So they're probably being told, shit out as much content as you can, even if it's not being very well researched, and whack the beehive when you can because we need hits, or you're not going to have a job in 6 months. That's probably part of what's going on. This is not how you issue corrections to the media. Whoever signed off on this should know, and they did it anyway, wrote Haywire magazine writer Lee Harrison. Unprofessional in any setting, unforgivable, and potentially dangerous in the cesspit of games discourse. I want to talk about something too. We did a video yesterday talking about Kevin Smith's He-Man, Masters of the Universe Revelation. And we tweeted, we didn't write an article, we didn't do a video, we tweeted that we had heard from someone who supposedly had the script, and I trust the source. I know who the person is, and I know that they work in and around voice actors. So the chances of them having a Revelation script, or at least for the first episode or two of the show, it was pretty high, right? They came to me back channel and they said, hey, I got some concerns about this new He-Man show. Here's what I read. Do with it what you will. Didn't do a video because we thought it would be shoddy journalism if we didn't actually know, have concrete proof of what was going on, right? So I put a tweet out and I said, hey, I'm just hearing some things about the new He-Man that's basically going to be the Teela show and not the He-Man show. And if that is the case, I have concerns it's not going to play well. Well, Kevin Smith called us out on Twitter. And you know what? Outlets like comicbook.com and IGN, I think, and a couple other ones, gave him high fives for doing that because he needed to smack down rumor mongers. He needed to smack down, these YouTubers. How dare they? How dare they run with rumors, even though they're clearly marked rumor, even though we're not sure if it's true or not, but here it is. Meanwhile, if you correct one of their journos at Polygon, rightfully, because they did not even do basic research, everybody's going to stand up for them and be like, how dare you? You're just being a bully. You're just being a bully. And this wasn't a rumor they reported on. This was factually, you completely misunderstood. You completely did not play this game that you're reporting on. Could you correct it? I think they're well within their rights to do that. Anyway, just noting the difference. YouTubers are garbage, according to Twitter. Even though they get more views than a lot of these news outlets do, they're garbage, and they're trusted journos at Polygon, etc. They are above reproach. You're not allowed to correct them. Cartoonist and illustrator Machinero Wine, he was on a webcomic show, I think. I follow him. He was the one I showed you his tweet. Yeah, that'll show him. Make sure those incel chuds buy your games. If you're a brand manager and part of your social media strategy is CDPR style shit like this, your games have gone way the hell down my priority list. I'm not going to buy your stuff, wrote the Young Folks Games writer Travis Hymas. Just like tweet GG shit if you're going to be like this. Be GD honest at least. Oh my God, here we go. Gamergate. Gamergate never went away. God, it never went away. Everything is Gamergate. In defense of Polygon, Twitter user Run Dalton Run pushed back. Sometimes writers have to write about news items that relate to games they didn't play. That is true, and I've said that. That is true. But again, Google is your friend. You can't expect a writer to know every single thing about every single game. Also, it's a story about a fictional character and plot, not like an important IRL event or topic. Meanwhile, the same types of people call out YouTubers all the time for getting worked up about fictional characters. I just want to point that out. I'm going to assume that they did do research and just had a misunderstanding or made a mistake. It happens, but having Respawn reply in the way they did over something like this is grossly unprofessional and way more egregious than an error in the article. Respawn Entertainment's response, which was highly lauded by fans, further caught the attention of Polygon editor-in-chief and co-founder Chris Planty, who dishonestly framed the developer's justified response as negging. I hope that official developers' accounts negging people because they don't know every piece of video game lore would die out post-Gamergate, but I'm not surprised we still see this shit. Says the editor-in-chief and co-founder of video game video game news website, Polygon. I just really wish that these developers wouldn't expect journalists to do basic research, because it's gatekeeping to know what the fuck you're talking about. Can you imagine if this happened in sports? Like, if somebody didn't know the rules of baseball and they got a job as an announcer, as a commentator, and they didn't know how baseball worked or football worked or basketball worked. Oh, no, I think we've actually seen that. My memory is a little foggy, but I think we've actually seen that, where we've got sports commentators that don't know what the hell they're talking about. I'm just saying. Despite the claims of these critics, the incredibly positive fan reaction to Respawn Entertainment's tweet and success of brands such as Wendy's, a bit of well-placed snark, especially in a justifiable situation, is typically welcomed by most audiences. Yeah, mostly it is. Because fans are like, what the actual fuck? Why are you getting paid what you're getting paid? And Polygon writers are getting paid pretty well. Again, venture capital money, which is running out. They're getting paid to write about games they didn't play, which, again, is understandable. Sometimes we cover things that we didn't actually watch, but we try to do due diligence and at least, have a basic idea of what we're talking about, or ask questions if we don't know what we're talking about, or disclaim the fact that we really don't know what we're talking about. In this case, I think they were completely justified. For sure. I think they were. And that is that. So Polygon, there we go, guys. Polygon is Polygon, and it is beyond parody at this point. And you gotta wonder how long MOCKS is going to keep it running. Depends on how much money it's making. I'm going to wrap it up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later.